Good morning, everybody. We are back. It is the right side of campus, and we are live here on a Thursday, August 30th, 2018, one of the final days of August. And we're here breaking down. It's football, football, football as we head into college football week 1. Next week, NFL getting going. We're back from the IPC. Everything is coming into focus here. We don't have to talk about baseball anymore. It's a fucking glorious morning here. I'm the big man on campus. He's Donnie Rightside. We are offer you to join the show today. Listen in. We got a lot to talk about. Talk Heisman Trophy. We'll talk college football. We'll talk insider trading. We'll talk all sorts of stuff today here on the show. We're back from Vegas. I came back Monday. I've been with you guys the last couple of days. Donnie joins me. He's back. Donnie, how you doing today?
Yeah, doing good. A lot of time, no rest for the weary here. Got back late into Philadelphia last night, went right to bed, woke up this morning, tried to get a couple notes together for the show. So we'll try to fight through and get on. But hey, look, the grind is here, Jeff. No sleep till Brooklyn really means in our world, Jeff, no sleep until after the college basketball Final Four national championship game. So the long grind is here. We've been all fall summer waiting for topics, waiting for football, waiting to get underway. Now we're finally here, man. Feels good.
Got a lot to go over. We'll talk about, like I said, Heisman Trophy, some college football tonight, all sorts of stuff. We welcome everyone in. Hopefully, you're having a great Thursday. A lot of people already checking in here on the channel. Make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure you retweet the show if you're on Twitter. It's a great way to get the show out to people that maybe don't know about it. Make sure you check out all the shows here at SBR. Let's get in, Donnie, to morning headlines. We'll talk a little bit about the Vegas trip that we had and get into everything else. We'll start out in college football. Zach Smith, who seemingly, Donnie, won't go away. This guy seems like people thinks people care about what he has to say, and it's like, dude, like nobody gives a shit what you have to say. You're a scumbag. You're a woman beater. You're a shithead. I mean, this guy's like tweeting out. Like everyone's gonna feel bad for him. He's coming out. He's going at reporters because he says they got the story wrong. This guy just seems like he's got egg on his face, and he's pissed off because people are outing him. How come we didn't hear about this stuff all before this stuff was put out? Zach Smith just trying to cover his tracks. A real scumbag.
Yeah, it's the leaky, or the squeaky wheel, I should say, Jeff. Because how many times do you see in all walks of life at this point where let's take a look, Jeff, to mob mentality, right? You think a guy's going to flip, you think a guy's going to run his mouth, or maybe give him a little bit of settlement money. But after a few weeks and that money is all burned up, that you get back on the trail and you want to make yourself relevant again, Jeff. Nothing good comes out of this guy's mouth each and every time he talks. I mean, how many times do you have to hear it, Jeff? I beat my wife in '09. I beat the hell out of her for a decade. I got fired for beating my wife. But then you're just going to resurface a month later and say, well, I never even actually put my hands on my wife and my kids are suffering. Sounds like a loose cannon, Jeff. Not only a wife beater or alleged wife beater, maybe he's got some drug issues or something like that, or maybe some mental health issues that he's trying to work out and go through because the guy makes no sense every time he tries to pop off and run his mouth.
Zach Smith doesn't understand that sometimes not saying anything is probably the best thing here. He should shut up. He should go away. And he should find a new life. Listen, nobody told you to beat up your wife. Nobody told you to do any of the stuff that you did. You've been involved in a lot of weird things, a lot of bad things. Zach Smith should shut the fuck up and get the fuck out of the spotlight. Nobody cares about what you have to say anymore. You've already, and Urban Meyer, we all know. I mean, we all know everybody around that program is a bunch of shitheads. Zach Smith, obviously, being one of them. You're right. He does continue to make himself look real stupid on the internet. Um, Welcome into Lloyd, Scott, Steve, Kyle, Mikey, DJ One Mike, Sam's Picks, Guan White, Barry Roselle, Walla Walla, Derek, Dewey, Mikey D, Corey, Von Polo, Little E, Alex, Troy, Steve, everyone here. Welcome in. We hope you enjoy the show. If Dave Bliss got a coaching job somewhere, he could too. Well, he's not a head coach, first of all. And second of all, you're right. He probably could. I'm not sure how Dave Bliss got a job at, Southwestern Church University or whatever it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh,
Yeah.
but Zach Smith needs to be Deontay Wilder to practice dummy. I agree. It's a good point, DJ One Mike. I would set that up. I actually maybe yeah,
Sparring
maybe we should
partner,
set that up.
Jeff? Yeah, a little sparring action.
Yeah. And I love how he's like putting his kids into it, Donnie.
Oh,
Do you really
gosh.
want to make these kids, feel? And I'm like, well, you're the one that beat your wife up, you idiot, you fucking scumbag. Let's move on here. Aaron Rodgers gets paid big contract,
Mm.
4 years, 134 million. Comes the most expensive quarterback in a game. Listen, I always hate talking about contracts just because generally I get pissed off because I hear about it, but in this case, I don't. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league to me right now. I think he's one of the best players in the league overall. Listen, do I think he should make what is he making, 30+ million dollars a year? Um, no, I think that's kind of ostentatious. But look, that's the NFL now, and that's sports. I guess if you think about it, with all the concussions and the stuff he's got to deal with, maybe it is. This is a lot of money, but it's for a deserving player. Look, off the field, he's kind of corny and stuff, but he's a great player. Can't knock that, Donnie.
No, no. And, it's very rare that NFL players, Jeff, swing the actual hammer where the NFL team and the upper management is the nail. Aaron Rodgers is one of those few exceptions. We saw with Julio Jones, and I'm not showing up till you pay me. And they blinked within like 36 hours and gave him some new money in the deal. But when Aaron Rodgers wants his money, wants it now, look at that state of Wisconsin, the city of Green Bay, Appleton, Milwaukee. Can you imagine, Jeff, if Aaron Rodgers goes, look, I want, like, he ends up with 130 million, like $80 million in guarantees coming by, I believe, the start of the next league year, which is outrageous. But is it deserved? Absolutely. Look at that franchise, Jeff. If you just subtract Aaron Rodgers out of it over the past couple of years, they are atrocious. And I saw some of the things floating around Twitter. What would you rather have, Jeff? Would you rather have like Megatron and Julio Jones thrown with like an average quarterback, or would you rather just have some okay wide receivers out there with Aaron Rodgers calling the shots? I think it's all apparent out there. Aaron Rodgers makes everybody better. How good a wide receiver was Jordy Nelson, Jeff? Once Aaron Rodgers goes down, Jordy Nelson was just your average guy off the street. It's amazing how much money that guy's. Look at Mike McCarthy, for instance, Jeff. Look at the upper management.
Yeah,
Now, again, Green Bay is going to. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
he's made a killing off being a bad head coach, but he's got Aaron Rodgers as quarterback, so it works out.
No, I mean, that's the whole point. Like, he makes that entire football organization money and worthwhile. So imagine if he says, you know what? I want 80 million guaranteed by the next league year. And they go, we're not paying you that. And Aaron Rodgers sits out. There'll be a full-on revolt in Green Bay to give him his money. They're probably going to start like a GoFundMe account out there to cover the $80 million, and they probably do it in a few days. He's that important. But then again, having said it, Jeff, you get that, like, I know you can't now fill in on the defense. He's going to take up a lot of money, which again, he is worth it, which always leads me to believe, Jeff, down that path where why does Tom Brady make like 10 or $12 million a year? And we always seem to think that Robert Kraft has that underhanded, money saying, I'll pay you 12 on the books and I'll pay you 30 off the books, or I'll guarantee you this and that. What Tom Brady does for New England is pure insanity over there, but good for Aaron Rodgers. Get your money, man.
Yeah, I mean, nothing lasts forever, as we know,
Nope.
Donnie. I mean, you could go down tomorrow and get injured. Again,
Mm-hmm.
these contracts, you have to understand, it's not just for a year. I mean, it's obviously long term. They got to get paid. They got to make their money. We see the 134 million, and we think, wow, But it is, again, it's overtime. It's a lot of money. But I mean, Donnie, Evan Fournier made fucking $95 million. He got a $95 million contract in the NBA. It really doesn't sound like that much money after you kind of think of it. It's the years and the amount of years that it is that make it obviously much more per year. But hey, listen, if anyone deserves, it's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's a terrific player. He's one of the best in the league, if not the best in the league. Sam Darnold gets the green light. Now, Donnie, I've heard from people. Obviously, these are Jet people, but these are people in general. I believe it was actually Joe Namath actually said that he thinks that Sam Darnold eventually will be the best quarterback in the league. Listen, we hear it all the time with these new quarterbacks coming in. Listen, some have played well in the preseason. Obviously Baker Mayfield, Darnold. We've seen Josh Allen at times play well. Josh Rosen. Listen, they're all going to play well, but we have to understand something. It's like Hard Knocks last night. I'm watching Hard Knocks, and I'm seeing that they want this Cajuice to make the team. Now, look, good kid, nice kid, like him. Obviously, a family man. But again, you got to realize he's playing against the four string players. He's dominating against four string players. Sam Darnold, again, we need to see him against real defense. Let's pump the fucking brakes a little bit with Sam Darnold. He should be the starting quarterback, in my opinion. They get rid of Bridgewater. I think it's obviously a clear sign that he's going to be the quarterback. But we have to remember he had major turnover issues at USC. Look, if he gets it turned around, Jimmy Neutron will be good. Doesn't he look like Jimmy Neutron? Look up Jimmy Neutron. Tell me he doesn't look like him. But yeah, listen, I like the kid. Was he my favorite quarterback? No. But he'll do well. He needs to be the starting quarterback. He's the best option they have.
Yeah, no, I agree right now. The young kids have to play. It's a different world, Jeff. We talked about it at the IPC. When these college quarterbacks are coming into the pros, they're coached up to be pros already. I mean, you see it now in high school. We used to run the wing T in high school, option style. Now they're running run and shoot up and down the field. They can call their plays, call the defenses, and keep it going in order. But when you look at Sandler, he has to start, Jeff. Same thing with Baker Mayfield today. He has to start, even though it doesn't look like he is going to do that. I agree. The one thing that's interesting at this point, Jeff, do you maybe hang on to Bridgewater for maybe another week and a half, because you got a third round pick, which is nice in the NFL, don't get me wrong, but maybe you could have squeezed another team a la back in Philadelphia with the Minnesota Vikings, Jeff, where we got rid of Sammy Sleeves over here, trade him for a first round pick to Minnesota within a week before the season started. But also, Teddy Bridgewater's that solid backup. If Darnold's going to go down, wouldn't you like to have? You're just going to throw the season away, I guess. I don't know, but I mean, to get back to the original point, Darnold had to start. It's the right move by the New York Jets. Let the kid sink or swim out there. He's going to learn on the fly, and it's what you have to do. If you think he's your franchise quarterback, Jeff, he shouldn't be on the bench. Hello, Cleveland. You think Mayfield is your franchise #1 overall pick? Why can't he beat out Tyrod?
Good point. Well, I think that has a lot more to do with Hugh Jackson. I think he should. I mean, look, I don't understand why you're drafting these kids to just sit them on the bench. I mean, Tyrod Taylor's not going to be your long-term quarterback. Mayfield's look good. What's the point of not giving him #1 shot? Tyrod's a backup. That's what he is. But hey, that's the difference between teams like the Browns and teams like the Eagles that will do that. I mean, the Eagles will go out and say, you know what? We don't have an option here. We're going to go Carson Wentz, and we hit lightning in a bottle, and then we win the world championship. The Browns will wallow in that. They'll waste another season. They'll bring in Baker Mayfield after 9 games. It won't matter because they're already,
Yeah.
2-6, 2-7.
That's what I want to ask you on that, Jeff. If you're looking at Cleveland's perspective there, is it Hugh Jackson preservation mode saying, I can't even believe I'm still here in year 3 where I've won 1 game? Imagine if I can start Tyrod Taylor out here and get maybe 4 or 5 wins. Does that show management that I should get a contract extension because of the improvement
Yeah,
that we have? Or what happens if you start Baker Mayfield from day 1 and he only gets you 2 wins and then he gets fired? And also on a side point, Jeff, on a side point, John Dorsey, are you married? You have a woman at home? Can you do your own laundry? Why the fuck am I looking at the same outfit every fucking day from John Dorsey on Hard Knocks? Does anybody see that, or is it just me?
I think he just rocks the same like sweatshirts.
What is
He could
that?
have.
That's
He
ridiculous.
has, I'm sure he has tons of them. Yeah. Listen, I got to tell you, I don't like this season. I don't like a lot of the players. A lot of the players are assholes. I think. There's not really any likable ones other than really like Kajus. He's nice. He seems cool, but I don't know. I also feel like Donnie. You notice like in other Hard Knocks, generally there's like a lot more personal like parts. Like this has been like all football. I feel like we haven't really like we've literally seen like 1 or 2 of the families. Like it's not really been a ton of football, but the show has been a lot more serious. I feel like, but yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, John Dorsey's a weird guy. Like, but
It's
um, speaking of the Browns, Michael Kendricks cut. Michael Kendricks arrested. Michael Kendricks pleads guilty to insider trading. Listen, I, let's hope Michael Kendricks goes to jail because if that was you or me,
Yeah,
Donnie,
yeah.
or
Go
Billy
on, say it.
Walter,
If we, Jeff,
going to jail.
if we made 9,000 as a common man, they would pin us up against the wall and be like, "You don't steal from the government and make these moves." You're right.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, if you know anything about this indictment or everything, it was pretty brazen. I mean, he's using code words, he's using all sorts of stuff. Obviously, Michael Kendricks had every idea what he was doing here. Listen, does it make a whole lot of sense? I mean, we're just talking about contracts, Donnie. Michael Kendricks will never make 134 million, but he's making a lot more than he was involved with here. My dad has talked to me about greed. Sometimes you have to you just have to say, you know what, that ain't gonna work for me. I got to move on from that. Even though I want to do it, listen, it's an easy mill. I'm sure he could have made this, and it would have been easy. But again, this is illegal. You can't do it. And you look at it and say, well, it's fairly trivial, but it's not in the scheme of the trade commission. It's something that will ruin the markets. It's cheating. And you look at all the stuff involved here. I mean, clandestine meetings, cash envelopes. You look at the other guy though. You have to ask why he did what he did. I mean, I think he made like 10 grand out of all this. Um, I mean,
No, he
Michael
made a million.
Kendricks.
He made 1.2 million off it.
No, no, the cat that was involved, the other guy, the
Oh
banker
yeah,
guy.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
this
yeah.
guy did all this for a couple 10 grand. I mean, doesn't seem like it seems like he got by Michael Kendrick. Kendrick says, I wanted to apologize. I involved him. I love how he goes 4 years ago. I participated in insider trading. So does that mean it's not any more of a crime because it was 4 years ago, Michael,
Yeah,
or
which is
what?
all which means he participated in it right up until they caught him with the FBI. Is what
Right.
that translates to.
Howie Kendricks down in or Howie Kendricks, Howie Roseman continues to look like an absolute star. I mean, did he know about this or what? He gets rid of Kendricks, and then this happens. What the hell happened here?
No, you're exactly right. I mean, and also what somebody brings up a good thing in the chat box. What is Cleveland doing out here? Is there any not forget about background checks because sometimes that stuff doesn't come out and you sort of get surprised by it. But the amount, like you're saying, the Eagles are getting rid of this guy, and he's not. Well, why would they be
Wow, they
getting
would.
rid of him? I mean, just like they don't care. It's almost like they're the Bengals, Jeff times two, and brings up the next preface. Like, what's going on in the state of Ohio? Ohio State football, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cleveland Browns. Is there a disconnect in that state of football where like you just don't have any idea who's who at this point?
Well, listen, I think in this case, look, I mean, I think the Eagles let Michael Kendricks go just because I don't.
Make
I
too
think
much
he had
money,
been
didn't
kind of
perform enough. Yeah.
right, and I think he had been on the block for a while. I mean, I remember back in the
Yep.
season, the beginning of the season, they were looking to move on from him. To me, he looked like a guy that never fully committed at times. He's a good player. I mean, he just had, I think, effort issues at times. But look, he's a good player. I mean, I don't fault Cleveland for picking him up. It's not like the feds are going to go over to the Browns. Hey, listen, uh,
Yeah.
you might not want to pick him up. We got a big case
Yeah.
on him.
Yeah.
They're going to be obviously very mum on that, but yeah, listen, it is what it is. I mean, I don't think Michael Kendricks is any worse of a person. I mean, look, there's a lot of people that do this kind of shit. They don't get caught. It's kind of like there's people that that maybe are bookies and they get arrested. And it's like, oh, you're such a bad person. Look, I mean, you never took a friend's bet in your life. I mean, if we all want to throw stones in glass houses, we will. I'm not saying we all insider trade or anything, but look, he got caught. It is what it is. Um, is it worth it for a
And also
million
with those
bucks?
accounts, Jeff,
In his
where
case,
it's
no.
coming from there, it just wasn't smart enough. Somebody's always trying to get one over. Like, let's just say you have the casino rigged, right? The one slot machine that if you were smart, you could walk in there and get like 100 or 2 out of it over an hour and just get away with it. But it's the same person that says, I don't want 100 or 2. I want 2,000 a day. And I'm going to walk in there
Yeah.
for a month straight and get 2,000 a day. Then they pinch you. Maybe Michael Kendricks was the guy who never lost. Every single time he traded in the cryptocurrency market, he won. That brings up red flags. Some people just can't say, you know what? I got to throw a couple 100 grand away today on purpose so people see I'm not flagging it. Not that I won every single transaction.
It's funny. I was thinking. You look at Michael Kendricks. When you think about him, you think to yourself, why would he do this? He's only making $1 million over 8 months. But then you think about it and you say to yourself, well, what does Michael Kendricks make? In 2018, Michael Kendricks is going to make 1.6 million. Not a ton of money. I mean, after taxes, he's making about I don't know $1 million. Going to pay your agent. He's not making Aaron Rodgers money. So when something like this comes, you got to do what you got to do. You know what Michael Kendricks reminds me of, Donnie? Though, and I'm going to tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
Here's where you'll see
Yeah.
Michael Kendricks down the road. Michael Kendricks, I don't know if you remember this, but Rihanna actually tweeted that she found Michael Kendricks attractive one time, many years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago. You know who Michael Kendricks will be down the road? Hank Basket. He'll marry some really attractive woman. He'll be kind of like the husband. kind of like that random husband you see down the road years from now that's married to like
Yeah,
Heidi
and
Klum.
he has
You're
a
like,
little flair. Like if the
yeah,
woman is famous,
if-
she can at least lean back and be like, yeah, he played in the
yeah.
NFL. You know?
It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yep.
where do I know this guy from? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's some like NFL player you never heard of. You're like,
yep.
where do I know this guy from? It's, oh yeah, he was in the NFL like 8 years ago. That will be Michael Kendrick. He'll marry like he'll be fine. He'll marry some woman. They'll make money. He'll find ways to
He's
make
got
money.
cash.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, he ain't gonna go broke. But I remember, actually, Donnie, this is actually a real weird story, but I know a girl from South Philly. It's a true story. She actually has a kid with Michael Kendrick. I know her. I
Mm.
know her. She was, Michael Kendrick did his thing around the area. She's a beautiful girl. And she actually had a kid with Michael Kendrick. So, Kendricks is obviously out there doing his thing. He's got a lot going on. Hopefully, he gets it all figured out. Seems like an all right guy, but I didn't like him fucking going behind the Eagles' backs, Donnie. Though you don't ever like to see that, but
Mm.
it's preseason. You got to do what he's got to do. He's on a new team. Um, what's wrong with becoming that guy, at Jeff? No, nothing. Nothing's wrong with that. I'm just
That's
kind of
what we're saying.
foreshadowing
Yeah,
where.
like you have to have that little resume behind there. If you want to latch on to a famous person who says, "What do you add to my relationship?" I can't just go out and say I married some common man off the street. Yeah, he played in the NBA or the NFL. It adds a little cachet.
Here's the thing though with Kendricks. He has a plea deal. I'm gonna go ahead and guess he doesn't go to jail. He probably will plea deal out. He's never been arrested before, I don't believe. So
No.
maybe he'll go to jail. If he does, it would probably be minimal, maybe a year, and it'll be at some summer camp somewhere. But I'm sure he'll just have to pay a fine, and that will be that. But um, I think the plea deal is obviously important. He's admitting guilt, saying I did it. I don't think he'll
Yeah, he'll
go to jail.
probably have to give it back, pay a fine, and what in exchange he's gonna have to dime this guy out and just like tell him exactly what his scheme was and his scam was. Probably something like that's more likely to go down. But then again, Jeff, we're not talking about like I did it one time and made $86,000. Like he made over 1 million, and that's gonna ring some bells.
Yeah, by the end of this, Michael Kendricks will be a rat for sure. At the end of the day,
I don't think he's
Michael
playing in the
Kendricks.
NFL anytime soon. That's for sure. So, you know,
No, no. Hey, listen, if you can't stay on Cleveland's team, well then you're probably not going to get signed. Uh, Too bad.
that's a good point.
Let's move on here to kind of getting into the crux of the show. We're back from Vegas, Donnie. You came back
Yeah.
last night. You stayed a few days after with your significant other, your wife, who I met out in
Hmm.
Vegas. I actually met her before we
Yes.
left. A terrific
Yep.
woman, great lady. Um, but the big story obviously is Vegas, Donnie. How did you enjoy your time? Did you have a nice time?
No, I did. I had a great time. I was most looking forward to because again, like I'm cut from a different cloth some way. Like it's hard for me to go out to a convention. The worst part about the convention for me, which I had a fabulous time, is the fact that I had to speak on a Sunday. I mean, anybody's been out there known public speaking wise. I mean, me and Jeff do it all the time, and it seems very comforting. But we still have to get our p's and q's and lines. You don't look like a fool on stage, and you want to have some fun. But the fact that I was on Sunday, you couldn't really let loose like Friday and Saturday night. And the fact that I'm 40 years old has me waking up at 4:30 in the morning out there and just walking around my room and going out to Fremont Street when nobody's out there just to try to burn some time up there. But it was a wonderful time. And I think the best thing part about it, Jeff, is getting out there and meeting everybody and seeing them in person. And it was all love at IFBC, man. I know there's a lot of stuff going around for the past few months. It was like the 5 families getting together out there, hashing out their differences and being part of a team as they left. I thoroughly enjoyed myself once again, went out there with the right. But you know what the interesting part of it was, Jeff? I go out there and like I'm sort of like in a sports vacuum over the past 5 days because when you're out there with the wife, you want to take that time, you want to relax. She's not going to want to be in the sports book. She's not going to want to stay in the room and watch the Phillies play or some NFL preseason games. It was almost like I had to catch myself on like Line and Twitter just to try to catch up to see what was happening in the news. When we're home, Jeff, we're just attached to TVs, having fun, putting stuff out there. But it's almost like I'm in like a 5-day vacuum where I have so much catching up to do with sports. Who's there, watching the film from back in week 3 to see in the first half what you like carrying into week 1. So I have a lot of catching up to do, but no rest for the weary, man. That's what we want.
Yeah, actually, Donnie, we're heading out to IFBC again. If you look at the morning headlines, we're actually
Oh,
heading to IFBC tomorrow again.
oh,
So shout out to them. By the way, Donnie, for anyone that doesn't know, Donnie and I traveled out there together, right? So I want to tell a
mhm.
quick story about when we get to the airport. So, Donnie, we park obviously out in the economy lot. We wait for the little bus thing. We get on the bus. We go into the airport. We're ready. We're ready to go. We get to the airport. American booking, outside booking or whatever. Uh, and you get your bag checked, and the guy says to me, "All right, you're up. You got ID?" And I reach my pocket. I say, "Fuck, man, I don't have it." And I'm thinking about it. Fuck, I left it in my car. So the guy goes to me, he goes, he goes, "You'll be all right." He's like, "Just go into the thing, talk to the lady." She's like, "You don't need ID." I'm like, "I don't need ID. What do you mean I don't need ID?" He goes, "Well," he goes, "think about it." He's like, "You really gonna need it in Vegas?" I'm like, "Probably, and I'm not gonna want to wait, and I'm not gonna want to not have it out there." So Donnie actually goes, Donnie goes, "All right, well, listen, I'll go get it." He goes, "I need to get my steps in today." Now, Donnie, a normal person would like try to go find a bus and just jump on a bus.
No, but
He
let me preface it
walks.
by before I'll let you get back to the story. But we're at the actual the guy I'm handing over like my ID. Jeff doesn't have it, and he's doing the thing like, oh man, don't even worry about it. Just hand your bag in. And I see Jeff's mind spin like, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. I'm like, no, Jeff, we're getting the ID. But the part about it is we left. 'Cause, I mean, big man's look, let's the lovable big guy, right? And we got a long way to go. But how many times have you been in a spot or in a situation where they go, yeah, walk over there,
Yeah,
wait over by
it's
section 3, and the bus never comes, and 45 minutes go by. He doesn't have his license. So me and the big man start walking back with his suitcase. I have my backpack on, and we get about a half a terminal. I'm like, look, man, let me just go by myself, hang out here. It'll be much easier than you walking all the way with your bag and all the way back. So go ahead.
yeah. So the guy says to us, "Just go across the thing, walk over the bridge, and you'll get back on the thing." And I'm thinking, "Come on, man!
I've
Uh,
been there. Yep, we've been
I
there.
know those buses, they come like every
Yes.
50 minutes, and that's for the people that are actually going that way. We had to go the whole other way. So Donnie ends up going to get it. We get on the plane, everything's fine. We go out to Vegas. We get out there, we have the meet and greet. Then the next day, Donnie, we had to be up by like, I don't know, 9 o'clock, 8:30 because the thing started at
Yeah.
10. So
Yep.
Friday night we were knackered. Like we went out on Fremont Street, we were tired, like we had flown all day. It was bad. So, we were tired. It was like we were off the time change. We go to sleep at like 12:30, but it's really like 4 o'clock, 3:30 because we're here, and we're from the
Hmm.
East Coast. So I set my alarm. I don't even see it. I set it for 7:37 or 8:37 PM. I'm like, I wake up the next day and it looked dark out. Like it still looked dark out. And I look at my clock and I see 9:37 and I'm thinking, it can't be 9:37. I mean, that means I would have slept for like 8 hours, 9 hours.
Yeah.
And I go look outside and it's sunny out. And I'm like, oh fuck, it's really 9:37. So I had to hustle and get ready and I ended up making it down there by like 10:30. But yeah, I was fucked up the first night because that time kind of fucked me up.
Yeah,
Um,
Seth hooked it up in the back of the room. We took care of it. We had the seats, so Big Man didn't have to get in there and go right up front in front of the cameras. Be like, damn, look how late Big Man is. We slid in the cut right in the back right side of the room. It all worked out.
It was cool there though, because it's like I don't think not everyone got there on time either. Like Zach Jones, I don't think did he even show up the first day, Donnie. Um,
Did he show up? Did Zach show up at all?
no, I don't know. I don't know.
No, no.
Gabe Morency comes in like 2 hours late. Like, yeah, it was good, but no, it was fun Saturday. We met. Saturday was the big day. I spoke. Um, Jason Whitlock and Clay Travis spoke. That was actually a pretty good speech, frankly. Who else did we have? We had the kind of the older like Vegas crew. They spoke earlier before us. Had a nice lunch there, Donnie. They took care of us. Then we had that poker tournament, which you actually did well. You did better than I thought you'd do. I thought you'd be out firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you what, real quick before we get into college football, I got sucked out on. I was at the second to last table. I got kings, pocket kings.
Mm-hmm.
We bet back and forth. I eventually shove. He calls. He had a little bit more chips. I had a little bit more chips than he did. And it was a turbo tournament. So he had to go fast. He calls me with ace jack. This guy, some fucking guy calls me with ace jack. Um, Blanks on the flop, but there was a straight card. Turn, another straight card comes. River, the fucking runner straight comes. He sucks out of me with a ace 2 3 4 5 straight and takes all my chips. I had like 200 chips left. Then I get knocked out the next hand. It was ugly. Yeah. If I win that hand, I win the tournament, Aaron. I would have got to the
No,
final
it's fun. I
table.
loved it. How about Walter Trotter, Jeff, knocking down 2 Gs out there, man?
Oh, hey, listen, I'm going to tell you this. If anybody wins, I was hoping it was Walter because at that table we were at, Donnie, this was the table we were at. It was Teddy Covers, Drew Martin, me, John, the owner of the company, the owner of SBR, and then
Mhm.
Walter, and then a bunch of form guys. I John got knocked out. I knocked out Drew Martin, and then Teddy and Walter were still there. And I don't want to see Teddy win. Like, he's he's like a colleague. So it's like let a fan win, let a listener win. And Walter won. He comes in, he's all happy. I said, I hope you won. He said, I won. And I was happy because he's a great guy, Walter Trotter. He's a lot taller than I thought he'd be. I thought he'd be kind of like a
Yeah.
smaller guy. A lot of people are a lot taller than you think, Donnie. Like I
Yeah.
met Natalie Rodstrom, and I'm thinking like, wow, like she looks like a model. Like seriously, she wore the
Yeah.
ball gown. Like I couldn't believe that. She was very tall. But a great time. We thank SPR. We kind of put our bow on the IFBC. We've been talking about it all week, but we put a bow on
Jeff,
it.
real
Unfortunately,
one last thought on the poker tournament. Now I'm going to set the stage for what type of guy I am, right, Jeff? So we all sit down at our tables, and I guess it's I don't really play in poker tournaments, but they hand you the thing. You can't just sit next to your friend, I guess, so to speak. So you get in
yeah,
line, they just hand you the ticket. I go to my seat, table 10, seat 7, whatever it is. They collapse the table. I guess one or two people didn't show up, or somebody got knocked out, so they start to consolidate the tables, right? So I move over, and Matt was at my table. Brick City Matthew was there. So I move over there, Jeff, and I have, I don't know, probably lost half my stack already, just getting blinds or whatever. And I sit down, Jeff, and I hand my card. He's like, let me just have your card back. He hands me a fresh stack, and nobody at the table even says anything because the dealer thought I just came late, and they just gave me my money and said, welcome in, have some fun. So me, Jeff, being the honest guy I am, say, wait a second, sir. I'm coming from the other table. Here's my actual stack. And everybody got a laugh out of it, Jeff. But look, that's the old man and me being honest. I could have just took the fresh stack and said I got more chips than everybody. Now let's rock.
that's good for you. That's a
See that?
nice move by you.
Yes. Honorable.
Um,
Absolutely.
Alejandro Blanco's in here to troll me. I'm sure it'll work, Alejandro. We already know you're a fucking prick. So it won't matter. By the way, Donnie, before we yeah, all right, beat it, will you? You're in here
Yeah,
by
buddy.
7:30 in the morning to troll me. Some life you live. Donnie, one other thing on that
Mhm.
ace jack hand, Kyle Hamburg was there. The fucking dealer didn't even see the kid at a straight. Nobody said anything.
Ah.
Some fucking guy at the table goes, "Oh, whoa, 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 straight, straight." I'm like, "Shut the fuck up, dude." Like the
Yeah,
dealer didn't
it's,
see it.
it's like when you get blackjack. Look, you're in your blackjack table where sometimes they tell you like you pushed or you actually won. You just stay real quiet, take your chips down, and move on. Yep.
Yeah. I'm thinking like, wow, this is great. I'm like, the fucking
Yeah.
dealer doesn't even see it. I knew right away it was a straight, but the kid, I don't even think the kid knew he had a straight. And some fucking guy off the side of the table, oh, no, straight, straight. Fucking shut up, dude. But yeah, so that was that. Let's get into college football. We're refreshed here. College football. Quick point on the Heisman, Donnie. I've
Yeah. Yeah.
been
Yeah.
kind of sitting on this for a while. I've been wanting to talk about it. Could someone properly fucking tell me how Tua Tagovailoa is the favorite to win the Heisman? Seriously, if you're betting Tua Tagovailoa at 4-1, you're a fucking idiot. You shouldn't bet on anything. You should take your
I
money.
like it.
You should go out and buy your wife something, or go take your kid to the amusement park, or whatever you're gonna do. Don't put 4-1 on Tua Tagovailoa. It's a ridiculous price. He shouldn't be 4-1. He said one half a success in the college ranks, and that was against a team that didn't prepare for him. No Alabama quarterback, Donnie, has ever won this award. Ever. No Alabama quarterback has ever won the Heisman Trophy. None.
Now,
They
Jeff,
don't win
I
the
love
Heisman.
it. I love where you're coming from. Here's what I want you to do. If there's any way that the producers can rewind the show for about a minute and a half right before that rant, Jeff, and take out Tua's name and put Tiger Woods in there for me. Can you please do that?
Well, no, I'm just making a point. Tua's never been
I
good at
know. I
anything, and
know.
the
I know.
fact that he's the favorite. Why is he the favorite? Explain that to me. I don't see it. You're getting God on this price.
Yeah, and also
He should
like if you like a Heisman Trophy, like theoretically, Jeff, Alabama's so good in so many instances where they're not running out the game where it's like, it's 48-48 in the fourth quarter, right? So he's probably going to be out of the third quarter. In a lot of those games where some of these guys rack up monster numbers, Like it's like to win the Heisman as a quarterback, what do you need, Jeff? Like 400 yards a game, an undefeated season, and like 30 touchdowns and 2 picks. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what you need.
Listen, that offense doesn't particularly warrant big numbers for a quarterback. Just doesn't do it. And listen, not for nothing. I don't care what price people got Tua Tagovailoa. He's not going to win the fucking Heisman. I don't know. He's not even the fucking quarterback. He might not even start. Jalen Hurts was good until the last fucking half of the season. I mean, we need to pump the brakes on Tua Tagovailoa. They don't win Heisman trophies, the quarterbacks at Alabama. They don't win Heisman trophies in that fucking league as quarterbacks. I mean, when was the last time a quarterback from the ACC or of the SEC won the Heisman? It was Cam
Did
Newton.
Cam take the Heisman? Yeah, exactly. When that was an absolute super freak. No, you're right about that. It's
Sure.
not so much about the SEC offenses, Jeff. It's the fact you got to go up against their defenses. That's why you can't win it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you mentioned it, Donnie. Look, when you look at a Heisman Trophy player and when you're betting them, you got to look for obviously is that player going to be relevant? Is team going to be relevant at the end of the year? You're not giving the Heisman Trophy to a fucking player from Houston or Navy. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So and that's one of the problems with Khalil Tate. I love Khalil Tate. I think he is a
Pac-12 after
perfect
dark,
player
though.
for the
Yeah.
Heisman. Yeah. I mean, he's a perfect player for the Heisman. He's going to have a lot on the ground. He's going to be able to throw the football. He's going to put up big numbers. But A, he plays late at night. And B, his team's not going to be relevant at the end of the season. Arizona's not going to the Final Four or a big-time bowl game. They're just not. So it's hard to take Khalil Tate. I'm looking at guys, again, I don't lay anything under generally 20-1 on a Heisman, just not something I'm wanting to do. I took a guy like Shea Patterson. I think Michigan could go to the Final Four. I think he could have big numbers. Will Greer, someone like him, 20-1. I took Jake Browning out in Vegas. I got him at 30-1. A lot of these kids, they're going to have the ability to get to the Final Four. I think another guy that people are sleeping on, Kelly Bryant from Clemson. If he's the starting quarterback there, he will put up numbers, and they're going to be in the Final Four. The last time in Alabama had a quarterback that could run and throw was Blake Sims. That didn't work out very well, dude. That doesn't mean
You know what's
anything.
interesting, Jeff, about your
The
Tua
offense,
comment
not
too,
the kid.
is like you don't even have like we saw him for like one half, and again, it was a national title game. It's a huge effort there, but again, Georgia didn't game plan for him, and I'm not even going to say that Tua is a bad quarterback because I think he's a very good one. But what are we actually working with? Like, did he didn't have a build up season? Like now he's ready. He threw 35 touchdowns last year. He could throw 40 this year. You're almost getting an unknown as the favorite, which is really interesting.
No, right. And to answer the questions, I mean, Jalen Hurts can throw and run, and Jalen Hurts wasn't a Heisman Trophy candidate either. It's difficult against those defenses to move the football. It just is. Malcolm Perry is not winning the goddamn Heisman. Look, he's a nice player. He's not winning the Heisman. Stop saying that. He's undersized. He probably won't even make it a full season. I don't even think he should be the quarterback. I think it should be AB. But as far as Tua, look, if you're betting Tua at this price, find another hobby, please. It's not going to work for you. But yeah, looking at those kind of guys, Kelly Bryant, Will Greer, kids like that, Patterson, Browning, those are people you want to focus on because those teams are going to be relevant towards the end of the season. Let's move on, Donnie, to to
Yeah, got a
tonight's
couple minutes to
action.
spend on some football action tonight, man.
Now,
Yes.
Donnie, is there anyone, I'm not saying you got to give a bet out, but is there anyone you look at Heisman do you like running backs? Where do you like to go with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much quarterback, running back now, right? I mean, wide receiver is going to be hard to break into, but I don't have any lead. But I like the Khalil Tate thing because you need video game numbers now to almost get looked at. But you're right, Jeff. Is it going to come in the fact where Khalil Tate's going to win big games? Are they going to win the Pac-12 so they can actually be in the bowl series?
I
Because you
think
know
for
as
him
much
to
as I
win,
do,
it happens.
it's almost like a hype machine because you need to be on national TV, you need to be on prime time, not 11 o'clock at night, and you need to be in the national title mix, and you have to have a big upset. Remember those years like Johnny Manziel? Oh, he looks like a good player. Holy shit, he just beat Alabama at Alabama. I need to watch this guy. Can there be a wow moment, Jeff, for Khalil Tate where he steps onto the scene and says, "This is a guy I need to watch"?
Alejandro Blanco, I'm actually a nice guy, but Bigman hates my guys. Yeah, I mean, why would I like a guy that comes into my chat and just says nothing but bullshit all day? Yeah, I love you. Actually, I don't give a fuck about you. You're just annoying and you're around. You just come in here to be a prick. So yeah, I don't know you. Maybe you are a nice guy, but again, if I go around every day and beat up people, probably not gonna be looked at as a nice guy. I mean, you are what you give. And you've always been a prick. So there's no other way for me to treat you. But you know what's funny? If you met me in Vegas, you probably would have been nice to my face. So why don't you just cut the bullshit and just act like a normal human being? That'd be a bit easier. Donnie,
Jeff,
someone talking
tranquilly,
about Jalen.
let's get some games. You want some games? We want some games here?
Yeah, I do want some games, but I quickly want to point out
Go.
Jalen Hurts is not. People talking about Jalen Hurts isn't shit. Jalen Hurts isn't shit. What are you talking about? He was a good
He's a
quarterback
good, yeah,
until
he's a good
the
quarterback.
first half of the first half of the national championship. Donnie, he had one interception last year. One,
Yeah. No, he
one.
fit. He actually fit them perfectly for what they wanted to do. Don't make mistakes. Make some plays with your legs. Just get the ball out and in space for some of the better players out there. And you're right. He got into a little bit caught up. He got switched out, and now he was like, Jalen Hurts can't play. That guy could start on how many football teams, Jeff?
And look, I mean, that's what you got to give to the kid. You got to respect the fact that he didn't say, "Well, I'll salute. I'm going to go somewhere else." He basically says, "Look, I'm going to fight it out." Listen, he didn't play well in the national championship. No one will knock that. Did you need something to that different? Yeah, I think a lot of us called for something else. You want to, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. When when you go in there, when you're trying to win something, you gotta pull the string. It's the last game of the season, as they say. But Guan's a good, Ray makes a good point. 16-2 as a starter. Look, a lot of that has more to do with the team that he's on. But again, yeah, you gotta respect Jalen Hurts. He's a good player. He's nothing that's not good. But Giovanni asking all sorts of questions here. You know what, Giovanni?
Jeff, is Giovanni an FBI? Is he trying to dime somebody out where maybe they made some big wagers and when the FBI didn't get anybody, or
Yeah,
excuse me,
listen,
the
Giovanni.
IRS didn't get their money?
Yeah, listen, Giovanni, go, go speak to your accountant about that. All right, we're not accountants, brother. Ace
Tony
Farmer, how about
Tony
that?
Miller can help him out with that, Jeff. Why doesn't he just call up the Gold Nugget, ask for Tony? He'll explain to you what we're going to do with big money.
Ace Farmer coming in and congratulating us on future
There you
ventures. How about
go.
that? Ace Farmer maybe turning over a new leaf. Nothing wrong with that, Ace Farmer. You've been a prick to me as well in the past, but hey, there's nothing wrong with burying the hatchet, as we've been able to do lately. Let's move on here. Let's get into tonight's action. What do you got, Donnie?
Jeff, I
Settle
mean,
down.
if we're looking at games of the year every year, Jeff, does the civil conflict not rank in your top five of games of the year? UCF, UConn, Jeff, 133,
Mm.
134. Take a look at this game. Look, opened up at Pinnacle 23, Chris 21, now sitting at 24. So, in effect, you're probably going to need 4 touchdowns to cover this line. Can UCF and Mackenzie Milton do this, Jeff? And does anybody take this conflict seriously here?
Well, I think Connecticut's obviously going to take it seriously. It's a home game against a division foe at home. I mean, I said that already. It's a home game. I mean, funny, and it's the first game of the season. Everyone has large thoughts here on the first season. Maybe we can do it. Maybe we can go out and beat somebody. And look, you're getting UCF at the right time. First game of the season, a new defense, a defense that lost a lot of good players, a new scheme, a new coach, Randy Shannon, who has had his issues in the past, a quarterback with a new coach. They're going to go try to go even faster than normal. Listen, do I want to take UConn? No, because I think UConn are horrendous. If I'm looking at anything here, Donnie, I'll tell you what I look at. I look at a team total over here. I think UConn will get shredded on defense. I do. I think they're among the worst defensive teams in the country, and I mean that. I think they're bottom five in that category. They were absolutely terrible on defense last year, and they had Junior Joseph, and he's now gone, their leading tackler. So I think UCF gets a lot of points here. The problem is, I don't know how many points they'll give up. This could be a game late where UConn is down 30, you know, and look, UCF doesn't care about covering. They don't care about 24. 24 is an interesting number, too. If this is a 31-point game, this could be a backdoor, something like that. To me, a safe play would be just banking on the fact that UCF will score. They shouldn't have trouble moving the ball. My concern on UCF is defense.
Yep. No, I agree with you there. And by the way, Jeff, like if you guys watch the IPC out there and you saw a big man up on stage, Joe Lisi, one of the better panels that you're going to watch with two guys that don't need anything in front of them to actually speak on. I mean, a couple of people were able to do that and do that really well at the IPC. The one good part about me and Jeff is what we like to do. Jeff knows me. I don't really dabble in the college football week 1, 2. I really get going in week 3. Jeff is great right out of the gate on that. But I think some people get that misconception out there like, well, what's going on? Why is this? Look, we like to stay in our lane on certain things, which is why I'm going to tee Jeff up on all these 4 games. He's the man you want to talk to on those. I love college football. I watch intently, study intently as well, but I'm a wait and see guy because the thing that I like out of this whole thing with SBR that we have here is you have a different mix of people on different shows there of what they can and they can't do. And you folks know me from the past couple of years here. I'm not going to jump in and say, Donnie, what do you like on Central Florida, Connecticut tonight? And I go, boy, man, that's a lot of points. I really like Connecticut because that's not going to be the case. So Big Man right now is the expert in college football, and I'm going to stay out of the way and just tee these up for him. So you could tell the knowledge is real, but the one thing you're always going to get from me and Jeff is we're not going to fake it out there. We're not going to come on here and say, look, I love this game. Thank you for asking me, stuff like that, unless I'm speaking in sarcasm, which I do quite a bit. But Big Man's going to lead the way early season here in college football. No doubt about that.
Let's keep it going, Donnie. What else do we have tonight?
Let's do it. 137, 138, New Mexico State, Minnesota, 27%.
Now you missed one,
here,
Donnie.
Jeff. I'm just going down rotation on that, though. We going down on the
You missed Northwestern Purdue.
Let me see here.
135.
Oh, you know what? I had it in time. Hold on. Let me re-tee this up here. What we got here? I have the second game as New Mexico State, Minnesota, 7 o'clock.
Whatever.
Though.
We'll just make sure we get it. Whatever you want.
New Mexico State, Minnesota, Jeff. You know what the one interesting thing I saw this and I've been reading up over the summer? How is it possible that a true freshman comes in and starts for Minnesota, Jeff, that doesn't have a scholarship out there? One of the more interesting things to read into. New Mexico State, as we know, if you watched, already played a game, second game in under a week. In football, also, you do improve more, Jeff, from 1 game to 2, from the first game to the second game, more than any other part in the season. But is that going to help? Are they rested and ready? What are we looking at from Minnesota here, Jeff, with PJ Fleck rowing the boat?
This is one thing you definitely want to keep in mind of recency bias and what happened the week before. Are New Mexico State as bad as they look? I don't think. I think they're maybe slightly better. I thought if they did anything well, they did run the football well. Huntley was pretty good in the run game for the Aggies. But you know what's crazy? This is the tough scheduling spot because you get Wyoming, who are very good on defensively. Minnesota is like a carbon copy of Wyoming. They're the same team. Defensively, they're the same team. The problem is Minnesota has better athletes. They're Big Ten. They got better players on defense. They might be even better on that side of the football even as well. Problem for Minnesota, though, is I don't think there's good offensively. They're going to lean on Rodney Smith a lot. Rodney Smith, the name you want to remember. I picked him up last night, Donnie, in my college football fantasy draft. This is a kid that's going to get a lot of touches this year. Shannon Brooks went down with an injury. Their other running back, Rodney Smith's going to be the bell cow there in Minnesota. And we all know, if you know anything about Minnesota, they are a run-first offense. They do not want to throw the football. They've had major quarterback problems. And that's one of the reasons for me. I don't think we see a ton of scoring in this game. It's not going to be a game I'm on, neither of these first 2 games I'm on. If I'm looking at this one, I'd probably play the under. I think it's like a 30 to 13, 27-10 type of game. I think it might be too many points. I think New Mexico State's a bit better, but we saw when New Mexico State gets bogged down against a good defense, it gets a defense that's faster and better than they are. Look, they just aren't going to move the ball. It's very simple. I would look probably under the number here if I had to play anything. Minnesota's not an offense that generally is going to exploit anyone. I think you'd see a lot of punts in this game early. It's a low total, but I think it's like 27-13, 27-10, something like that. I would lean if I had to play it under the number.
All right, we'll keep it moving down the list here. I'm just going right in order of time that's showing up on there. 139, 140, Wake Forest and Tulane. Jeff, at 8,000 tickets have been tracked out here. Line opened up at 8 and 6, depending where you're shopping at. Intertops -6, 5 dimes -7, +110. Bet online -6, -115. Wake Forest out of the ACC. Tulane, Jeff, another year under the belt down there for that offense. What can we anticipate out of this game? And if you're looking at a total there, Jeff, because Tulane is more offensively based on the ground, but Wake Forest can be sneaky here, but also laying close to a touchdown here on the road game 1. What are we looking at?
Yeah, I don't understand this line. I don't understand why they were 8-point favorites to begin with on the road. Wake are a good team. They're not a team that should be laying 8 points on the road to an upstart team that is going to sit on the ball. Wake Forest also, to make matters worse, the quarterback suspended, Kendall Hinton. He's out for a few games. So now you're going to start a true freshman at quarterback. That's not good if you're Wake Forest. And you're laying points on the road to a team that runs the football exclusively. That's what they do. You're not going to have many options throwing the football. They're not going to go up and down. You're not going to have multiple possessions. I think Tulane's the play here. It's under that 7 point mark, which, look, if you got 7 on this game, good for you. I mean, you got the best of the number. I think Tulane can win the game. I think at home, this is an upstart team. Here's the problem with Tulane, though, okay? And it's the elephant in the room. They're not very good on defense. They just aren't. It's that simple. I think they can move the ball. I think they'll be effective because Wake isn't good on defense either. The problem here, though, is both defenses are poor, but I just don't trust either offense. Tulane's going to sit on the ball for a while. They're going to run the ball. I don't know that Wake moves the ball too much either. I would take the points here if I had to do anything here. It's just something for me. I just don't really understand this number. I never have. And the fact that they have a freshman quarterback, I think if you're going to play this, though, why not just take them to win? I mean, Tulane looks like the better team in this game. They're at home. Going to be a good atmosphere down there with this with this group. Willie Fritz has had a time to prepare. I think Tulane wins, and I think they lead the whole game. I don't even think it's a game that they worry about a whole lot. I think they have control the whole game. I just think this is the wrong team kind of favored here. I don't think Wake with a backup quarterback is worth 6.5 points.
Jeff, best game of the night. I think one could argue 135, 136, Northwestern and Purdue. 8,800 tickets have been tracked in this one. Line opened up at -3 in the favor of Purdue, -3.5 at Chris. That's now dipped down, Jeff. Chris at -2. Intertop showing 1.5, 5 dimes, 1.5 as well. Big Ten battle to open the season. A lot of times, Jeff, most of these teams play like maybe a MAC school or something at a lower level, but they're going to square up head up tonight. And I know last year Purdue caught a lot of people by storm, but so many people rode that wave last year from the new head coach. What can we look at heading into the second season here? Pat Fitzgerald's boys lining up versus Purdue. Nice line here.
Yeah, this line's been all over the place, though. I mean, you had late last night, at certain books, I think South Point, Northwestern was a 1 point favorite. Now they're back to an underdog. I think this is another case of the wrong team's favored. I think Northwestern are a better team than Purdue. I think with Clayton Thorson in there, we have to realize Clayton Thorson is an NFL caliber player, and he will be drafted into the NFL. He's a really good quarterback. I think defensively, Northwestern have a big advantage in this game. Purdue have lost a lot on the defensive end. Purdue hasn't beaten Northwestern since 2010. They've done a nice job. They just have. And you look at the last few games, they haven't even really been close. You look at the last 2 games at this stadium. Northwestern's won 83-31. It's not even really been close. I think as far as for me, I'm not ever interested either, Donnie, in a team that goes with 2 quarterbacks. They basically come out and say we're going to play 2 quarterbacks. It's just not something I want to do. Blau and Sindelar. It means their cohesion's always not going to be there. They're always going to have, in the first game of the season, you might have some mistakes going on, too many men on the field, all that kind of thing. I like Northwestern. I like what they have from a quarterback perspective. They obviously lose their all-time leading rusher in Justin Jackson, but they still have guys, Jeremy Larkin, John Moten. They can both run the football. Defense is going to be key. I don't trust Nick Holt at coordinator for Purdue. I think he's just all fire, and really that's it. He's all bark, no bite. He's a loudmouth that just can't really do much in the scheme of things. Might remind you of other people that are talking right now too, according to some. But yeah, I don't trust them on defense. They lost too much. I think this Northwestern team is going to be pretty damn good on defense. I think they're going to be a defense that will control the run. I think they're just going to make it difficult on Purdue here. For me, Northwestern are a better team. I would take them here getting points. I think if I'm going to look at any of these 4 games, and if you ask me what my favorite would be, none of these are going to be games that I'm personally going to be sending out or anything. But I like Northwestern. I think they get the job done against Purdue.
No, it sounds fun. It's going to be fun, Jeff, to sit back and watch. And a lot of people know that me and Jeff have a lot of stuff going on right now and just watching. But isn't it nice when you're getting your work done, Jeff, and you can pop on and get a multitude of sports at one time, heading right into it. College football tonight with some big games. It was nice to get that appetizer, though, Jeff, out in Las Vegas, even watching in the sportsbook saying, you know what, football's here. We're ready to go. Only a couple minutes left. If we slide down that ticker one more time, we're not off the IFBC again. So the convention, you didn't miss the, convention already for next year's setup. It's supposed to be off topic there, which is no big deal, but approaches to early NCAA football and NFL action between being the big man. Jeff's a savant, as we know. Ask Jeff any question, anywhere, anytime. He's going to be able to tell you about these teams, who's heading into the football season, which is why me and Jeff work well. Jeff is a little bit more, on the ball, so to speak, in the chat boxes here in the morning, if we can put that kindly there, as opposed to me more laid back. Same approach I have in NFL and college football. I get started week 3 in both sports there. I'm more of a sit back and see. I want to see some hard numbers out there. Jeff will jump right in there because he does that background check, and that's what he's successful with. And that's why it's fun, Jeff. I think that's why me and you work well together, because nothing is forced in there. Whatever we're comfortable with, whatever we do, is the approach we take. But as you've seen in the past, the NFL, I wait a couple weeks. We'll hit it hard. We'll have fun. We'll talk a lot over the next few weeks and leading up to that. But it should be fun, Jeff. You're approaching the NFL and NCAA football. Give them a little bit of what you look for heading into the season.
Yeah, I'm pretty aggressive. I mean, I like non-conference play, whether it's basketball or football. I think one thing you want to make sure you understand, obviously, just do some homework, make sure you understand personnel and stuff as in any sport. But for me in college football, one thing that I generally do when it comes to laying big numbers, I'm only laying numbers when I see a Power 5 team against a non-Power 5, i.e., a Bowling Green against Oregon. I'm not very interested in laying 25 points or more with a Ohio State against Oregon State, Power 5 against Power 5. I don't want to do that. That's not something I generally do. I just think the level of athletes comparable in a way, and generally they don't come in. But I'm looking towards, taking those points if I see one of those things. But I think early on that's where I would look to lay points. I'm looking to lay points with, obviously D1 against FCS or Power 5 against G5. And make sure you understand, I am the king of FCS football, FCS, FBS. I will find a little angle for you in those games. Join us back tomorrow. We'll maybe look at one or two of those, try to find some value. Don't sleep on those young kids down at the FCS level. They can get the job done, and they can win games and cover football numbers, because teams like Kansas, East Carolina, those kind of groups, they shouldn't be laying points against anyone. Just the truth of the matter. We'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow and what you should be looking for when you see that. We got to go, though. Everyone have a great day. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks to Larry for producing. Larry, one of the best in the business, behind the camera. Great job, Larry. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern, same time, same place. We'll keep it going with NFL. We'll keep it going with college as we head into a football Friday, the first of the season. Enjoy the college football. We'll be back. See you later. Bye-bye.